Present.
Councilmember Harley,
Present.
Councilmember Fields,
Present.
Councilmember McCoy,
Here.
Councilmember Johnson,
Here.
Councilmember Field, Councilmember Cabrera, Councilmember Cabrera, Councilman Mills,
Present.
Councilmember Spadola,
Present.
Councilmember Bracy,
Present.
President Congo.
Here.
11 present and 2 absent.
Thank you. At this time, we'll have the reading of the minutes of the previous meeting.
June 1st, 2023, City Council met in regular session with remote participation. The above date at 6:30 p.m. President Ernest M. Congo II presiding. The opening prayer
Mr.
was done
President,
by...
I move the minutes be accepted as written.
So move. Second.
It's been properly moved and second that the minutes be accepted as written on the question. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. This time we'll have our committee reports.
June 5th, 2023, President, members of Council, City of Wilmington, ladies and gentlemen, we, your Finance and Economic Development Committee, met by anchor location and remote participation to was referred ordinance number 23015 entitled an ordinance to amend Chapter 44 of the City Code to provide a property tax abatement for low to moderate income, low-term homeowners following a 50% or more property tax increase on their primary residence. Have given this ordinance careful study and recommend council vote on it accordingly. Respectfully submitted, those members present: Councilman Johnson, Councilwoman Harley, Councilwoman Bracy, Councilman Spadola, President Congo. Absent with leave, Councilman Nathan Field and Councilwoman Oliver.
Mr. President, I move that the committee report be received, recorded, and filed.
So moved. Second.
It's been properly moved and second that that report be received, recorded, and filed on the question. All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carried.
June 5th, 2023, we, your Finance and Economic Development Committee, met by anchor location and remote participation to whom was referred ordinance number 23023 entitled an ordinance authorizing the issuance of the city's general obligation bond Clear Well Storage Improvements Design Phase 1 Project, Series of 2023 DWSRF, in order to provide the funds necessary for the City of Wilmington's design and construction in phases of a new clear well, providing for the sale of the 2023 bond to the Delaware Drinking Water State Revolving Fund and authorizing other necessary action. Have given this ordinance careful study and recommend council vote on it accordingly. Respectfully submitted, those members present: Councilman Johnson, Councilwoman Harley, Councilwoman Bracy, Councilman Spadola, President Congo. Absent with leave, Councilman Nathan Field and Councilwoman Oliver.
Mr. President, I move that the committee report be received, recorded, and filed.
So moved. Second.
It's been properly moved and second that that report be received, recorded, and filed on the question. All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carried. I'd also like to recognize Council Member Maria Cabrera.
So noted. June 5th, 2023, we, your Finance and Economic Development Committee, met by anchor location and remote participation to was referred ordinance number 23024 entitled an ordinance authorizing the issuance of the city's general obligation bond reliability improvements project series of 2023 DWSRF in order to provide the funds necessary for the cities of Wilmington's water plant electrical improvements, providing for the sale of the 2023 bond to the Delaware Drinking Water State Revolving Fund, and authorizing other necessary action. Have given this ordinance careful study and recommend council vote on it accordingly. Respectfully submitted, those members present: Councilman Johnson, Councilwoman Harley, Councilwoman Bracy, Councilman Spadola, President Congo. Absent with leave, Councilman Nathan Field and Councilwoman Oliver.
Mr. President, I move that the committee report be received, recorded, and filed.
So moved. Second.
It's been properly moved and second that that report be received, recorded, and filed on the question. All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carried.
June 5th, 2023, we, your Finance and Economic Development Committee, met by anchor location and remote participation to was referred ordinance number 23025 entitled an ordinance authorizing the issuance of the City General Obligation Bond PFAS Removal Design Phase 1 Project, Series of 2023 DWSRF, in order to provide the funds necessary for the City of Wilmington's removal of PFAS from the city's drinking water and elevation of the log removal capabilities at the portafilter plant, providing for the sale of the 2023 bond to the Delaware Drinking Water State Revolving Fund, and authorizing other necessary action. Have given this ordinance careful study and recommend council vote on it accordingly. Respectfully submitted, those members present: Councilman Johnson, Councilwoman Harley, Councilwoman Bracy, Councilman Spadola, President Congo. Absent with leave, Councilman Nathan Field and Councilwoman Oliver.
Mr. President, I move the committee report be received, recorded, and filed.
So moved. Second.
It's been properly moved and second that that report be received, recorded, and filed. On the question, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried.
June 5th, 2023, we, your Finance and Economic Development Committee, met by anchor location remote participation to whom was referred ordinance number 23026 entitled, an ordinance authorizing the issuance of the city's general obligation bond water distribution and transmission improvements lead removal project series of 2023 DWSRF in order to provide the funds necessary for the city of Wilmington's completion of both large and small diameter transmission and distribution projects across multiple service zones, providing for the sale of the 2023 bond to the Delaware Drinking Water State Revolving Fund and authorizing other necessary action. I've given this ordinance careful study and recommend council vote on it accordingly. Respectfully submitted, those members present: Councilman Johnson, Councilwoman Harley, Councilwoman Bracy, Councilman Spadola, President Congo, absent with leave, Councilman Nathan Field, and Councilwoman Oliver.
Mr. President, I move that the committee report be received, recorded, and filed.
So moved. Second.
It's been properly moved and second that that report be received, recorded, and filed. On the question, all in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carried. This time we'll have our city treasurer's report.
June 15, 2023. Total investment, $488,816,720.99. Total cash on hand, $11,636,111.90. Grand total, $500,452,832.89. Submitted by Dwayne Sims, City Treasurer.
Mr. President,
Mr. President, I move the treasurer's report be received, recorded, and filed.
So moved. Second.
It's been properly moved and second that the treasurer's report be received, recorded, and filed. On the question, all in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carried. This time I'll accept the motion to accept all non-legislative business.
So moved.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
It's been properly moved and second to accept all non-legislative business. On the question, all in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carried. This time we'll have our recognition resolutions. Want to ask for Council Member Oliver to please come forward. Just as a friendly reminder to our guests, as you're coming up to the podium, please watch your step. Also, if you are a part of a group, please consider using one speaker from the group who will have up to 2 minutes to convey your collective message. Thank you.
Okay. With the young ladies that have the shirts on, that We Are the Moms, could you please come up forward? Or anyone that's supporting this group, please come up. We Are the Moms, come up. Anyone else here support us? Come up. Come on up. Come right through. Gina, come right here. Let's come, y'all come right here. Yeah, this is straight down. We go straight down because you ain't popping. Just go straight down. You too, go straight down because you're too tall. Go straight. Yeah, go straight down. Yeah, just go straight in back of them blue chairs. Good. Yeah. Miss Butler, you can come right up here. Jackie, you want to come up here too? Stand over here. This is a group of mothers that I've been meeting with for about 4 months, and their shirt said, "We Are the Moms." I'm getting a little chills now. This is a group of mothers who have lost all their kids to gun violence. Okay, the sponsor is all council members, as well as Councilman Xanthi Oliver. And it sends the City Council to honor individual organizations who have demonstrated outstanding achievements and deserve recognition and acknowledgement. Flow, along with other organizations such as We Are the Moms, are here, and they are that group. And whereas many grieving mothers have dedicated their lives to support each other as well as others who are dealing with the same hardship. Through their partnership, they have formed counseling groups, provided crime scene supports, given 24-hour telephone supports, led to anger management training, and they have offered many other resources to all other mothers. And whereas gun violence has affected Delawareans, here has the highest rate gun-related fatalities in the U.S. on an average. 111 Delawareans were killed by gun violence every year. Firearms death and injuries caused in the state of Delaware is estimated at 714 million annually. There was 26 shootings with 31 victims in Wilmington between January the 1st and May the 14th for 2023. If the statistics are wrong, we just got it off the website. There were 83 shootings with 118 victims and 17 homicides. I'm not going to get into everything else. And now they're being resolved by the City Council of Wilmington. The council applauds the prestigious and tenacity of these individuals who standing up, who would like the public to know that their kids still matters. It's a lot of them that are unsolved murders. And I'm going to ask for Flo to say something, and Gina, you both have 3 minutes.
Thank you. First, I want to give honor to God. Second, I would like to give honor to all the mothers of victims of violent crime. It's an honor for me to serve them and the community that I serve. I want to thank Councilwoman Oliver for giving us a place to outlet and to let out the anger, the pain that resides down in the inside of our spirit. So I want to thank you, councilwomen and councilmen, for your time tonight. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Jackie Kennard. I too like to thank you guys for just taking the time to just even recognize us, to have us here. Councilwoman Oliver, she has kind of like been our sounding board, and we do love you. We appreciate you, and thank you guys for everything.
I'm Gina Carter, and I first want to really thank you, Xanthia, for even thinking about us as mothers. You know, because sometimes we don't think people care, and you have taken out your time to recognize that we as mothers want to heal not only ourselves but our community, because the community hurts when we lose children in our community who are adults or whether they're young. So thank you, and thank you for giving us the opportunity to use this platform to let others know that we don't have to do this alone. We all can do it together and try to help heal the community, because it's, you know, we have an angry community right now based on all the violence. So I want to thank you, Xanthia, for just taking your time out to recognize us. Thanks.
So I just like y'all, and I'm not gonna hold this meeting up, but some parents up here have lost up to 3 kids to gun violence, some 2, some 1. I just think it's so sad that, you know, we're in the meetings and they haven't had grieving counseling and there's nobody there for them. So I hope council reaches out to this group. They have their 501, they have their nonprofit, and this is not all of them. It's about 15 or 20 more of them that nobody's listening to, and I just think it's sad.
Mr. President.
Somebody want to say something to them?
Councilmember.
Y'all don't have to stay to hear the rest of this.
Mr. President.
I'd like to recognize Councilwoman Darby, who has joined us, Councilmember Fields.
So noted.
Yes. I tried not to cry when Councilwoman Oliver started, but it's unfortunate. I know 6 women up here that have lost their children, and one of them I went to high school with, Sean Flowers. She lost her son Aaron, and I remember when we were catching a bus and she was pregnant with him, and I remember when she lost him. Me and the same girl that caught the bus with her when she was pregnant, we would hold the bus up so that she can catch the bus. Me and the same girl went over there to see her. And it's just really sad that gun violence is really plaguing our community. And I just want to say to all the mothers, I appreciate you. It takes a lot of heart. It takes a lot of it takes a lot of heart just to get out and just say how you feel and ask people to see that you're hurting. And I just appreciate you all, and I ask you to keep up the good work. And wherever I fall short, I will be, paying more attention, and I would like to be included in whatever you start doing with the organization as well. So you can count Councilmember Fields in. And again, I know Craig's mom. I know Gina. I know Miss Daynette. I don't even want to start naming people, but I know the people that were killed. I can see their faces as I see their moms. So our community has to understand that we have to get this under control. And again, ladies, I just appreciate you all. And Miss Jackie, I know her son. He used to watch Sabria, my oldest daughter, when I went to work. That's all. Keep up the good work, ladies.
Councilmember McCoy.
Thank you. I just want to say thank you to the ladies that come up here with, and show your hearts on your sleeves and let us know what's going on within our cities. I'm so sad to hear about. I cannot state that. I think I've recognized maybe one or two, but this is horrible that the group is so large. I thank you, Councilwoman Oliver, because I've actually know some other groups that are similar to this, but for us to have more than one, that there are multiple groups who are grieving their children within our city, such a small city. I just want to say I'm sorry, and I just hope that we're finding a way to do better.
Councilmember White.
Yes, Mr. President, thanks for recognizing me. I had an opportunity to meet with the mothers a little bit earlier in the day and had an opportunity to listen to their stories of loss. And I, too, stand with them. They do not stand alone. But the stories that in the room, the emotion, the loss is just unbearable. So it's not a matter of just standing with them. And I said that to them, and I'm going to say it here, that we need to ask for more for these mothers, and we demand more accountability for everybody a part of this conversation, and to provide the services that they need to heal, as well as the community. So I, too, hope council will step up in whatever way they deem necessary or appropriate. But I'm all in on this conversation, and I told them that, and I will continue to be all in. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you. Councilmember Harley.
Yes, thank you, Mr. President. I too want to thank Councilwoman Oliver for bringing the ladies up on tonight. I know I have heard her talk about meeting with a group of women, but until I actually seen them tonight, I did not realize the magnitude of what she really was talking about and what she was doing. There are a number of ladies that, of course, I recognize. They are members of my church, and I too want to let you know that whatever I can do to be supportive, Councilwoman Oliver, let me know. And I also want to say that that's one of the reasons why I decided, and I know Councilmember Oliver, Councilmember White, and Councilmember McCoy, we attended the public safety meeting with the WCAC and with the three organizations, YEP, Wolfie Chambers Group, and the other group. We attended that meeting because it's all about us coming together, having a conversation to talk about what the crime looks like. It's for us to come together to be a part of the conversation, to make suggestions, even if it is supporting and advocating these mothers to get to get therapy or to get whatever it is that they need. One of the things that stand out to me was that they said in this conversation that whatever it is that we need in a community as it relates to crime and public safety, that we can let them know. So I want to encourage them, and I want to say to Councilmember Oliver to please make sure we let them know, because we do want to hear their voices. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you. Councilmember Bracy.
Thank you. Not to belabor the point, but I do also want to thank Councilwoman Oliver. I want to thank the women for coming out. A couple of months ago, Councilwoman Oliver called me and said, Bracy, meet me over here real quick. And when I got there, it was a gathering of those women, and to listen to their stories and to hear the pain and to know that, you know, she's been working with them and listening. And, you know, I appreciate you highlighting that today, Councilwoman Oliver. And again, whatever I can do to be a part of supporting moving forward. This is a club that no one should be a part of. And it's sad to see that, you know, the numbers are growing. Every day we're hearing more and more stories, and no one should have to deal with this, and they definitely shouldn't have to deal with it alone. So I just wanted to add my voice in support, and whatever I can do to be supportive, Councilwoman Oliver, just let me know. Thank you.
All right, thank you. This time I'm going to call Councilmember Darby forward.
All right. Good evening, everyone. Tonight, the first resolution is for an organization called 1 and 7B. I think Mark is here somewhere. Oh, yeah, I see him back here moving up. So I'm going to read the resolution. He has an awesome organization doing some great work throughout the city of Wilmington, well, throughout the state of Delaware. Whereas it is the sense of City Council to recognize individuals and organizations who demonstrate outstanding achievements and are deserving of recognition and acknowledgement. The 1 and 7B Foundation merits such recognition. And whereas the 1 and 7B Foundation is a faith-based nonprofit that believes that 1 out of 7 billion people on this earth can make a positive difference in someone's life with no conditions attached. The 1 and 7B Foundation has reached out to the homeless community in Wilmington to provide basic needs along with resources that can lead to restored and happier lives. And whereas their mission is to bring food, hygiene, and other resources directly to those that need them most. 1 and 7B has partnered with mobile service to provide a food truck, a mobile shower, and laundry. They look forward to potentially adding a mobile emergency shelter in the future. And whereas the 1 and 7B Foundation plans to serve all of Delaware and then expand into Cecil County, Maryland, Chester County, PA, and beyond. They are dedicated in their effort to bringing a feeling of normal and dignity to the lives of the underserved, not just by providing food or a shower, but also by celebrating any meaningful event such as a wedding, birthday, anniversary, or holiday. They are determined to make a difference. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the Council of the City of Wilmington that this legislative body recognize and congratulates 1 and 7B for their work. We look forward to the positive impacts this resource will have on the quality of life for Wilmington's underserved population. Job well done. So I just want to say that a lot of the points that I hit on or talk about or legislation is focused on housing, and I understand the importance of stability. And the service you are providing helps someone create that stability to be able to obtain housing or stay in housing. So I want to just say thank you for your work. When I first heard of you, I was like, I have to get in contact. And through a friend of mine, we were able to get in contact and provide some services that are needed for the city of Wilmington. So I want to give you a chance to speak and talk about 1 and 7B, talk about yourself. I see you brought your son. I'm loving it. So I'm going to pass it off to you.
All right. Thank you, Councilwoman Darby, council members. Thank you so much for your time and the recognition. We're humbled to be here. We're happy to bring the services of the 1 and 7B Foundation to the city of Wilmington. We also operate in Newark as well, so we're kind of on rotation there. I was born and raised in Delaware, worked in Wilmington most of my life, so this was just a great thing that really God, I give the thanks to preparing me and us, the 1-7B Foundation, for being his hands and feet and following the example that Jesus set when he was on the earth, really, to provide hope and unconditional love. Our goal is to develop relationships in hopes that our guests, the unhoused population, maybe open up to us and are ready to get connected with social services or addiction recovery, whatever the need might be, and they vary widely. So we're happy to have launched our mobile hygiene service. It's essentially a 30-foot shower and laundry trailer. We launched in April, and we're about 5 outreaches in now, and look forward to meeting more of you council members and how we can meet the needs of the city, potentially in your areas as well. So again, excited to be here, humbled by the recognition, and looking forward to working with you in the future. Thanks so much.
We do have remarks from Councilmember Harley.
Yes, thank you, Councilmember Darby, for recognizing this organization. I think I saw somewhere where they are going to be at Christina Park, and I just wanted to say to the director to please reach out to me. I know, again, like I said, I thought I saw where they're going to be at Christina Park. And I want to know wherever else he's going to be in my district, to be able to reach out and to support in some way. When I heard about it, I was thinking to myself, like, I never heard about this organization, but tonight I heard they've only been existing since April. So it's just July. So again, I will be honored to be able to advocate and to support where I can. And thank you again, Councilmember Darby, for bringing this organization out, because I remember you putting the flyer out, them going over on 23rd and Market, I believe. Is that the same group?
Yes.
Yeah, okay, so thank you, and I look forward to hearing from the organization.
All right, thank you.
I have one more resolution.
Okay.
So Dr. Boom, Dr. Adriana Boom, she sits on Red Clay. Well, she did. Side cry. She sat on Red Clay School Board. She has retired. She did not run this round. However, I wanted to recognize her. So they're going to recognize her tonight at the school board meeting and present her with the resolution. It landed on the same day as City Council. However, I am going to read the resolution to recognize Dr. Boom. So I am going to start. Whereas it is the sense of City Council to recognize individuals and organizations who demonstrate outstanding achievements and are deserving of recognition and acknowledgement. Dr. Adriana Boom, PhD, merits such recognition. And whereas Dr. Boom earned her PhD in psychology from Temple University in 2022, a fellow OWL. The same year, she became a member of the American Civil Liberties Union, ACLU. Adriana is a psychology professor at Delaware Community College in Media, PA, where she teaches courses with a strong emphasis on white privilege and transgender equality. She co-chairs the college's Institutional Diversity Committee and the Faculty Diversity Committee. Whereas Dr. Boom lives in the Highland neighborhood with her husband and 2 children, she has been a member of Red Clay School Board for 10 years. During her tenure, she has taken the lead introducing equity initiatives such as the Resolution for Safe and Inclusive Schools, protecting undocumented students, the creation of the Diversity Committee, and testified at the state level to keep Black history as a requirement in the school curriculum. Whereas Dr. Boom, list goes on, she sponsored the Racial Equity Initiative, requiring professional development for employees with focus in the increase in race trauma and LGBTQ protection of transgender and gender diverse students. She also fought to keep the city as a priority in the district. Dr. Boom then went on to sponsor a resolution to have Highlands Elementary renamed to honor Joseph E. Johnson, the first Black superintendent in the Red Clay School District. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the Council of the City of Wilmington that this legislative body recognizes, honors, and congratulates Dr. Adriana Boone, PhD. We wish her much success in her future endeavors and job well done. And she is my fellow soror. We're in the same sorority. So shout out to Dr. Boone for all the work that she has done, her 10 years of service to the community. School board, there is no connection to pay at all. It is solely volunteer work. And that she did it for 10 years shows a lot. And I have learned a lot from her and been watching her and the work that she's doing. And I just thought that her being recognized, it had to happen. So thank you, guys. I don't know if we're doing words or...
Okay, thank you. This time I would like to acknowledge our sympathy resolutions from Councilmember Harley, Darrell Tyrone Price, and from Councilmember Oliver, sympathy resolutions for Brenda Bell, Maurice Johnson, and Patricia Ann Patton. At this time, we are going to go to public comment. And just as a friendly reminder, for anyone who wants to give public comment, there is a Google Form sign-up link in the chat for any City of Wilmington resident who resides in one of our councilmanic districts or taxpayers who would like to speak. Your time limit is 3 minutes. Please keep your comments of general matters pertaining to Wilmington's councilmanic districts or any city council business. And please do not address any council members directly, but please address all of your comments towards me as the president. And also, as you come forward, please watch your step when you come to the podium. Also, just in case anyone missed it, I would like to mention again that substitute number 1 to ordinance number 22035 as it relates to the city's residency requirement will not be presented this evening. It is being held. First, we have Deacon Earl Tate. And please watch your step, Mr. Tate.
Greetings. Greetings. My name is Deacon Earl E. Tate. And I wanna say that the kids are out of school now and they need something to do. They need something to do, some type of recreation to do that doesn't cost the parents a lot, had to dig in their pockets to do it. Because when we was coming up, we had a lot of recreations and everything that our parents didn't have to reach into their pockets for us to do, and we had ourselves some fun. So now that the younger generation is here, we got to do things for them, just like we had it done for us, but we got to put our heart into it, and we got to show them that we care for them, because they could be out on the street, be shooting someone, stabbing someone, killing someone. Instead of that, show them love, show them that somebody care, show them that there is a way to life outside of the violence. We got to show the kids that a way, because we got to show them that we care for them, and that's why I say we got to stand up. Not only the mothers but the fathers too. We got to stand up and show the kids that we care for them. And that's how come I want to read this poem for you. It's death without Jesus Christ. As you live this life, walking the streets all alone, thinking that no one cares, giving up without a fight for life, and reaching and ready to die without hope.
Yeah, 30 seconds.
You look around and all you see is darkness. Death is reaching out for you with hell's fire burning so red and hot that there is no return. But wait, Jesus is standing there with his arms wide open, saying, "Behold, I am here, waiting for you. Come, let me show you a better way to go." And the soul looks up and reach up to the Lord. Then he finds life more abundantly, full of hope and joy that he never knew before. And he said, "Thank you, Jesus, for letting me know that there is a better way Amen. And I like to say happy Father's Day to all the fathers in here.
Thank you. We did have one person who signed up virtually, Michael Rourke. I'm not sure if you're still with us online. Okay, you may come forward. Thank you. And please watch your step. When you come to the podium, please introduce yourself, and please keep your comments to 3 minutes. I'll give you a friendly reminder at 30 seconds.
Good evening, everyone. For those who don't know, my name's Michael Groark. I am the president of Fraternal Order of Police Lodge 1, which represents the city of Wilmington rank and file police officers. And I've been employed by the city police department for over 25 years now. Politically, I understand why the residency requirement has been held. I sincerely hope that it can be back on the agenda after summer break, and it can come up for a vote. For almost 25 years, almost my entire time here, as a condition of employment in the city, as everybody knows, once you accept any city position, you have 6 months to move into the city where you must remain a resident for 5 years, completion of your 5 years, and then you can move out of the city if you choose. I'm not sure what the argument supporting a residency requirement is exactly. I've heard the arguments over the years. I've heard everything from property values, something to do with property values. I've heard that if a municipal employee lives in a municipality where they work, they're more vested in it because they work here and they also live here. And maybe the city gets a better result because they're vested in the city they live in. I think over the years it's been shown a municipal working, residing in the municipality they work with, any evidence showing any positive value as far as property. I think most of that's anecdotal. It's hard to prove, and I think very few people are going to sell their house if they live out in Newcastle County or wherever they live. They're going to sell a house they've lived in to move into the city. I just don't think that's realistic for a lot of people, especially if they're rooted in the community they live in and they have children. And do we all honestly believe that employees would not be vested in the city of Wilmington because they would not have to live in the city of Wilmington? I personally believe all employees should take pride in their work, and I think a huge majority of them do take pride in their work, and it doesn't matter where they live.
30 seconds.
I think that's especially true for the city of Wilmington. No matter where they live, I think they all show pride in their work. real quick, just specific to the police department. In March 2022, we have 12 officers in service right now from an academy class that graduated. In the year 2000, November 2000, we had 18 officers now in service from an academy class that graduated. In this next academy class, we're going to start here over the next couple months. I think we'll be lucky to have 8 to 10, and residency could be a part of that. And that's not just speaking to police department; it's speaking to all city employees. City residency or residency requirement is a relic of a bygone era, and if it stays in place, I believe it does so at all of our own peril. Thank you.
Thank you. And WITN, do we have anyone else virtually? Okay, thank you. At this time, we will move to legislative business. Councilmember Bracy.
Mr. President, I have a resolution to present on your behalf.
Resolution 23033, Agenda 0318, whereas by City Code Section 35-37A states that the Wilmington Civil Rights Commission shall be composed of 7 residents of the city. And whereas City Code Section 35-37A further states that the mayor shall appoint 5 members to the commission and the president of City Council shall appoint 2 members.
I move this resolution be received, recorded, and filed, and adopted by a yea and nay vote.
Second.
It's been properly moved and second that this resolution be received, recorded, filed, and adopted by a yea or nay vote on the question.
Mr. President, this resolution is being presented by the administration for council's review and approval. This resolution appoints Shante Vincent, Gary Fulman, and Devin Henson to vacant spots on the Wilmington Civil Rights Commission.
Councilmember Johnson.
I would like to be added as a co-sponsor, and I really hope this is, since I've been on council, this Civil Rights Commission, it's been addressed to council how it's not been active. It hasn't been meeting, and that's a problem because I think too often we have task force and committee, but don't have the follow through. And I think it's I know our council, we've been filling vacancies and we're working to ensure that the Civil Rights Commission follows their mandate. So this is very important. These are very good individuals in our community, and we just need the work to be done, and they should be at least have a quorum so they can meet. So I appreciate you moving this forward, Council President, and I look forward to the work that they'll be doing going forward.
And seeing no other hands raised, clerk, please call for the roll.
Councilman White,
Yay on the motion.
Councilwoman Darby,
Yes.
Councilwoman Oliver,
Yes.
Councilwoman Harley,
Yes.
Councilwoman Fields,
Yeah.
Councilwoman McCoy,
Yes.
Councilman Johnson,
Yes.
Councilman Nathan Field, Councilwoman Cabrera,
Yes.
Councilman Mills,
Yes.
Councilman Spadola,
Yes.
Councilwoman Bracy,
Yes.
President Congo,
Yes.
13 yeas.
Declared adopted.
Mr. President, I have another resolution to present on your behalf.
Resolution 23032, Agenda 0317, whereas the public participation in the electoral process is a vital and guiding principle of democratic governance, which City Council desires to promote, and whereas City Charter 2-101 establishes the process for filling a vacant City Council position between general elections, and whereas.
I move this resolution be received, recorded, and filed, and adopted by a yea and nay vote.
Second.
It's been properly moved and second that this resolution be received, recorded, and filed and adopted by a yea and nay vote on the question.
Mr. President, this resolution is being presented to by City Council for council's review and approval. This resolution requests the Delaware General Assembly to amend Section 2-101 of the City Charter to allow the citizens of Wilmington to fill a vacancy arising on City Council through a special election.
Councilmember Harley.
Yes, thank you, Mr. President. I just want to say for the record, for the community, that I would like it to be known that we sent this legislation down to Dover last year, and our council, we all have pretty much been desiring to have the charter changed to have a special election. And I was a little surprised to find out that even though we already passed legislation to have a special election in 2022, to find out that we had to have a supermajority vote. I haven't seen that anywhere in the charter that a supermajority vote was needed for this, and I'm surprised that we didn't find out about this until a year and a half later. So I just wanted to be on record that this city council, we started this process over a year and a half ago, and I hope that this gets in by tomorrow, since I know that they will be assigning legislation tomorrow in Dover to committees, and the last committee meeting is on Tuesday. So again, I just wanted it to be on record that this is our second time voting on this legislation. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Darby.
Yes, thank you. I'm in support of this resolution. I don't know if I'm already a co-sponsor. I think it's just important that it's the community gets to select who serves in the seats. And again, I like that Councilmember Harley said that we already went through this process again. We're going through it again. I don't know for what, but I just think it's really key and important that we're doing this for transparency and because it just needs to be out of the hands of the council. So I hope that we can get this pushed out this year and get it done so that we don't have to think about doing special elections. But I am concerned about one thing I am concerned about is that if we do the special election, I wonder if the Democratic Party is going to be the one who elects the person, or is this an open special election?
Excuse me. Yes, this would be a special election that person we voted in by the residents.
By the people. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, I just didn't want the Democratic Party to select the person. That would have been not a good look either. But thank you.
All right, thank you. And so far, council members who have co-sponsored this are council members Darby, Harley, Johnson, Cabrera, Mills, and Bracy. So again, when we did send this down previously, they asked that whoever is going to support it to also be added as a co-sponsor. Just to show that much more support. So I guess it'll be an easier push in Dover. Councilmember, excuse me, McCoy.
Yes, may I please be added as a co-sponsor?
Yes. Councilmember Spadola.
You can add me as a co-sponsor too. My only concern, and it was just that conversation that just occurred, is because if this follows the way a special election is conducted throughout the state of Delaware, the political parties pick the candidate. So especially because virtually every seat on this council is decided in the primary, it would essentially have the effect of the political parties picking who would be on the next council. So my point, my caveat with my support is that we should specifically have primary elections and then a general election. Because to just go right to the general election, it's in this room, after September, your game is over. You're not worried about November. This would basically fast forward to November. So I think that's something that is worth bringing up to the state if they do pick this up.
Okay, thank you. Councilmember Johnson.
I do voice the concern of those on council. This will be a special case, and I think as it is written, it really would just be the party picking. And I know the Democratic Party supports this. As someone that's worked, both different positions within a party, I know this is something that we at least want to see go forward. And if it is the Democratic Party picking and the respective parties picking, then that's unfortunate what we're left with. I think, honestly, like everything else, it comes down to dollars and cents, is that the state does not want to spend the money on Wilmington, as they typically don't with a lot of things, and it's going to cost more money to have that open election. So I think that's what it's going to come down to. We have to advocate for the funding, because then you would need 2 elections held.
Mr. President.
Yes, I'm going to. I'm definitely not in favor of the Democratic Party picking. This was not the vision of the legislation. The vision was to let the people who reside in that councilman district or who are citywide, if it's an at-large seat that's vacant, to let the residents choose their own representative, not the Democratic Party. So, unfortunately, again, here we are. Yes, Councilmember Darby.
Yes, can we clarify? Can we clarify this? Like, before
That's how
we
special.
vote? Because I am not interested in the Democratic Party being selected. They have not made good decisions, in my opinion. They can't be trusted, just like we couldn't be trusted in the process.
Councilmember Bracy.
That special election process, it would be the party that picks. I mean, from my experience through with any other special election, the party picks. So there would be well, it could be both parties picking their candidate that would and then run for whatever that open seat. But we might need to get clarity because the parties don't pick currently for council, and we wouldn't want to have that kind of interference in city government.
Excuse
Councilmember Oliver.
Yes, that's why I was hesitant about putting my name on this, because, after talking to someone who's been in council for over, I guess, 30, 20 years, whatever, and they stated, if you're going to pass it off, you might as well keep it the way it is. Why would you pass it off and allow the Democratic Party to pick? Why give up your power and let the Democratic Party pick? Because that's the way this states. So for now, I will not be signed as a co-sponsor because I'm not clear on the legislation. Mr. President, is it possible that the parliamentary can, based on what we're reading here, do you have any clarity on it or not necessarily?
I don't
Yes.
have a copy of the resolution in front of me.
He doesn't have a copy of the resolution in
No.
front of him?
And it's not a question I'd be prepared to answer.
No,
It's not a topic we've looked into.
Okay.
So I'm not prepared to answer that question.
Oh, it's,
It's based on what the general decides.
well, I'd like to move a motion to hold this until we get some clarity. Why would we send
I
it to
second
Dover and
that.
everybody?
Second on the motion.
Second.
Yes, we're definitely going to, being a sponsor, I'm going to hold this legislation until we can make sure that we're getting it right.
Thank you.
Before we send anything to Dover that might not be our vision.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay.
Mr. President, we have to vote on the motion to hold?
No, we don't.
He's the sponsor.
He's the sponsor.
He's the sponsor.
I think Councilmember Mills has a
That legislation is being held, so we're not going. There's no further comment about the legislation.
That's all I have, Mr. President.
Thank you. Councilmember Mills, you may be excused.
All right. Thank you, Mr. President.
You're welcome. Councilmember Darby.
Mr. President, I have a resolution to present.
Just 1 second.
Oh.
Resolution 23034, Agenda 010319, whereas community response. Thank you. Excuse me. Resolution 23034, Agenda 0319, whereas community response teams or civilian crisis response teams are partnerships that pair non-uniform
I
professionals.
move this resolution be received, recorded, filed, and adopted by yea and nay vote.
Second.
It's been properly moved and seconded that this resolution be received, recorded, filed, and adopted by yea or nay vote on the question.
Yes, so this is simply just a resolution to encourage the mayor administration and Wilmington Police Department to coordinate with LEAP. LEAP is the Law Enforcement Action Partnership, so it's a national partnership of law enforcement officers or people who worked in law enforcement in different professional settings. So they created a national coalition to say that they want community response teams, which are separate from the from their department, where they have a group of mental health professionals. They might have social workers, DV, domestic violence advocates. Every community response team looks different. So they're a group of police officers who are advocating because they saw the benefit of it when they adopted and had a community response team. So it would redirect 911 calls that are low offense or that are no crimes at all to this department that will be able to service that specific 911 calls. So currently, right now, LEAP originally I think it was $50,000. They wanted to do the analysis of our police call for service, but they called. They got a grant and said that they wanted to do it at no cost to the city. I had a meeting with some council people, with the administration, in regards to getting the partnership created between the administration, city council, and LEAP. However, they were not specifically interested in starting the analysis. So we can start the analysis, but it would be better if it was a partnership rather than just an initiative happen. I think that should be a partnership between city council and the administration. So I'm asking for the administration, Wilmington PD, to be a partner in this to make this happen. It's at no cost to the city. We'll get a better understanding of exactly what a community response team should look like for the city of Wilmington. We have people who are from LEAP, who are police officers, who are law enforcement officers, who have established these throughout the countries with many different size cities, small, medium, large, mid, whatever. They were able to equip other cities with establishing a community response team. So the workload is on LEAP. The workload is not on Wilmington Police Department. It's not on us. They might come and do interviews with us, with the community, with police officers, but LEAP is doing the work as they have the contract to give us the analysis to what our community response team looks like. And we need a community response team. Recently, this year, we had a call where a police officer, where a guy over in Southbridge was a suicidal call. He was stabbing himself, and the police officers responded. In that case, and that could have been a joint response with with a mental health professional who knows how to deal with those kinds of crises to help de-escalate the situation. But the situation, according to the police, escalated, and they allegedly the guy came at them with a knife and they shot him. He is still alive. He did not pass away. That's fortunate. However, there could have been a better response to someone who is suicidal, going through a mental health crisis. We don't need people going through a mental health crisis getting shot when there could have been better de-escalation tools, and a community response team would have been perfect to respond to a call like that. So that is the premise of this resolution. The analysis has started, so they have collected some data. However, it would be better if we had partnership with the administration and if we had partnership with Wilmington PD. Thank you.
Councilmember McCoy.
Thank you. So, yes, LEAP has actually given us two presentations and made us aware of the different cities that they have been working with. After that, we had another meeting with Councilman Darby, myself, and the chief, and also another council member, and got a chance to talk about where we were when it comes to LEAP. After having that conversation, we realized that we're doing we've already began the CPSI, which is the Community Public Safety Initiative. And then also when it comes to our chief of police, he has a vision and a plan that he wishes to implement. He has just finished his very first budget to start beginning that plan, which will probably begin in July. And we wanted to give him a chance to actually start putting that vision into place. So now when it came to a time, this is not something that I just wanted to throw away. LEAP may have something viable at some point, but at this time, we really wanted to put this on hold. I did not want to mess up anything that we were actually just starting. Like I stated, CPSI is just getting started, and I hope to see what we actually bring forward in implementation when it comes to Wilmington Police Department after July 1st. So I will not be supporting the resolution. At this time, I do realize that the administration they are very reluctant with moving forward. And so I just wanted to give Chief Campos a chance to start what he wanted to get done. And a lot of these things that Councilman Darby is actually speaking of, we know that there is an issue. He has another idea of looking at it, and so the data has been shared with LEAP, so they are starting analysis, but it's the give and take. It's all of the meetings and other things that they require. It's not just data. That data has been shared, but there's other things that they require in order to do the analysis, and people were very reluctant. So, like I stated, at this moment, I will not be supporting this resolution.
Thank you. Councilmember Johnson.
I was in that meeting again, I believe with the council members, Chairwoman McCoy, also Councilmember Darby. Something I've been working with even Chief Campos' predecessor on, who was really reluctant to move forward. So I think this resolution is good, but what I think it probably is a little bit too narrow in scope. It puts it solely in the hands of LEAP. I would prefer if the resolution just said community response teams in total. But I think globally, it's been on record, probably all 13 of us support community response teams. The idea is what it looks like. I think there's some reluctance about LEAP. I don't know why, but the administration has some issues with them. I definitely believe that phase one that LEAP is doing right now, actually reviewing the call data is important, because we can't get the funding for a community response team until we even know what our call data looks like. So this is a very important topic. I'm certainly supportive of community response teams. I just think if this passes, or if it doesn't, we still need to have the conversation about going forward about how do we get it. Because I think Chief Campos, and he's been in various meetings, I think there's agreement across the table the community response teams need to happen. It's just what that looks like. I think that's what Chief Campos doesn't know. He is on the clock. You know, he's been in office 6 months now. You know, I know Chairwoman McCoy will be having subsequent meetings with him. We need an action plan this fall, point blank. So at least that's where I stand, is that we are on the timeline because the community wants to see something created. So, you know, I'm waiting for Chief. Again, I hate to say be patient. We'll give him a little bit more leash, but I think we should move forward, at least looking at the 911 call data so we can get the community what they need.
Thank you. Councilmember Spadola.
Thank you, Council President Congo. I am going to support this tonight. It's not because I agree with every line in it. It's just, you know, similar to what Councilmember Johnson was saying. I think just the broad scope of it is why I'm going to support it. And, you know, just I've worked with LEAP in the past in my former life. I think the bulk of their staff is retired law enforcement. They do work in good faith. And I can understand Councilmember McCoy's points about the strain on the police resources. And, you know, Chief Campos, who I support 110%, you know, that's a give and take. But I think I don't see anything wrong with the administration having a good faith approach with LEAP, as I know LEAP has a good faith approach with the work they do. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember White.
Yes, Mr. President. I'm gonna motion to approve this legislation. I don't fully understand the reluctance on the part of council. I do hear Madam Chair point of view, but I don't know. Maybe we weren't listening when Councilwoman Darby described a person being shot over what was possibly a mental health crisis. I don't know if we didn't hear that. But, you know, if we didn't, this delay, this reluctance to move forward, and I too have confidence in the chief and his intent, but I don't see an issue in having more information than less information to help everyone move this needle along. But just to not do anything or possibly vote this legislation down would not be, in my think, the best interest of the citizens of Wilmington, and I'd like to be added as a sponsor to this resolution, Mr. President. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Harley.
Yes, thank you, Mr. President. I actually sat in on the committee meeting when this topic was discussed, and I really do believe that our new chief of police is really putting forth a good faith effort in terms of really turning things around, listening to the community, listening to council members as it relates to what is needed in the community. And so, having said that, and listening to the other side as it relates to LEAP, I don't see an issue with us thinking about both of these models moving forward. So I don't think it's taking anything away from Chief Campos by supporting this legislation. And I just wanted to be on record that I do believe he deserves a chance to share what he and his leadership is putting together as it relates to addressing some of these issues. And at the same time, I don't think, again, like I said, voting on this legislation is taken away from whatever model that he plans to implement. So for that reason, I'll be supporting it tonight.
Thank you. And for your second round, Councilmember Johnson.
And just to clarify for council the next steps, I mean, this is a resolution supporting the idea of community response teams, which again, I believe we should all be supportive of. But the idea is implementation. And again, there's strict guidelines, as I mentioned during the budget hearings. We are serious on council about implementing this. So there actually will need to be a mid-year budget amendment because in the current budget, we actually don't have funding for a program. So unless it's truly a grant, we actually will need to do a mid-year budget amendment, which similar to what we did with body cams a few years ago. So that's just explaining a process that this is step one. I really, again, we hope to get Chief's plan. We can budget community response teams, but we need to see this happen before the end of the year. I think all of us have made our voices loud and clear that it needs to happen. I don't care how it happens, with or without LEAP, it needs to happen. So again, I hope everybody's supportive of this idea, but we got to put our nose to the grindstone about how much this is going to cost the pilot, because the programs I'm looking at, and I've talked with Councilmember Darby, Councilmember McCoy, we're looking at least $250,000 probably for a pilot program. So just throwing some numbers out there.
Councilmember Fields.
Yeah, I just I have a question. So it said, if further requests that the resources and necessary budgetary funding is made available to carry out the findings and recommendations provided to complete the subsequent phases required to establish a community response team that is equipped to meet the unique needs of Wilmingtonians. So I guess this answers my question. So will we be funding two? Because if the Wilmington Police Department did one, and then we vote this for LEAP to do it, does that mean we will be funding both of them to do the same task?
So Councilmember Darby, she'll speak last, so she'll answer anybody's concerns when she speaks. She'll have the last opportunity to speak.
Okay, so basically what I'm saying is this going to put a financial strain on the city of Wilmington, because we would basically be doing we would have two entities doing the same thing and pulling out of one bucket for millions of dollars. So that is my question. And I wanted to know, how much are they asking for, or how much will they be asking for if they are asking the city of Wilmington to support them in order to do what they're supposedly equipped to do.
Okay, so during her final comments, Councilmember Darby, again, she'll address anyone's concerns. Councilmember McCoy for your second round.
Yes, thank you. I think what Councilman Fields was talking about was basically CPSI. Is that what you're talking about?
Yes.
Okay. So there actually are something different, and this is something when we decided we needed to do something with crime prevention here within the city. This was more than a year in the making, formulating this whole task force, and now finally getting all the pieces together and moving out. This is what we've been using, what we've been talking about and using our ARPA funds for. This is what we, all of the, I got a chance to tag along with Johnson and Oliver to go to Newark and get all of that stuff together. And so now we're finally in that stage. I don't want to complicate what we're just getting rolled out. And so that is one of the reasons why I felt as though it's not that I'm against this. What I stated was it's a time situation. I felt as though if we're starting this, I don't want to complicate or confuse anything that we're moving forward with them. And they're also going to be having some communications with Wilmington Police Department as well. So I just don't want to confuse that by throwing another piece in while we're just trying to see if this will work. It's not that LEAP does not that they shouldn't get the data. They actually have been, the data has been received. It's just that this is the initial portion of it. Like, this is the beginning of it, the analysis, and like she said, this is the first stage. So once they get the, like, they're going to keep rolling, and then we can't, like the ball may not, we may not have control of how we stop this ball if it's not to our liking. So that's the only, I'm like, I really wanted to make certain that we gave CPSI the opportunity, and also Chief Campos his vision. I just wanted to see how that works without making anything more complicated, because we really need to start doing things. And what LEAP has to offer, it's not that it's a bad thing. It's just that the time frame is different.
No, I like their presentation. I do. I really do.
Councilmember Harley.
Yes, thank you, Mr. President. I think that Council Member McCoy really did lay that out very succinctly in a way that it really makes sense. If we have already started and I'm not going to say we're halfway into it, but based on what she shared and what we attended on last week as it relates to how they are really moving forward with implementing their strategy and what they're doing, I can definitely see movement. If we did not see any movement with what we already started out with, I could see us possibly considering starting something new and something different. And for whatever reason, I didn't hear that there was a financial obligation committed to this legislation. I didn't get that part. So I'm glad that we had this second round, because I don't think that it makes sense for us to spend money in two different areas, and we already started one area. And again, I would have been supportive of this, but based on what our public safety chair has shared, what I have heard, I think it would be more beneficial if we held off at least to see, what Chief Campos and what this other team and model is going to do. So for that reason, only that reason, I'm going to have to not be able to support it, because I don't think we should start two different processes and put that burden, on the city. And I guess I do have one question for this sponsor, and that is this: like, why are we starting this when we already have a program that is being implemented? Why do we see the need to do that? And maybe
Okay.
what we can do is maybe try to address some of the gaps. And that's all I have, Mr. President.
Thank you. Councilmember Bracy.
Thank you, Mr. President. I just want to clarify for anyone that's listening in the audience, this is a resolution, so there's no fiscal note attached to this. All this is us asking the administration to consider working with LEAP. That's really it. So there's no other action that's really going to come out of this except that, unless we decide to make some more action. From what I understand from Councilwoman Darby, LEAP's are already doing some of this work. She's just asking to have access to the data, and this by no means is going to give them access to anything more than that they already have. So I think to count what Councilman Johnson mentioned, where action would have to take place is if we wanted to actually do something with this, then there would have to be a budget amendment or whatever else that needs to happen. But from a just clarity standpoint, all this is us asking the administration to consider working with LEAP. And that's about it. Correct me if I'm wrong, Councilwoman Darby, but I think that's it.
Hold on 1 second, please. I'm going to give you the last opportunity. You'll speak last.
I am 150% in support of allowing Chief Campos time to implement and develop his strategies. And I wouldn't in no way want us to interfere with that. But I don't think this legislation will actually do that. So I do want to make sure that we get clarity on that from the sponsor. Thank you.
Councilmember Fields,
Spadola.
second round. Councilmember Fields, you can go.
Okay, well, my I understand what a resolution is. It is a mere suggestion. My question was about the budget. What if the administration could even consider this? What would be the financial burden of the city of Wilmington? I know what a suggestion is. She's just merely suggesting it. So I get that. I think I've been on council long enough to figure out what a suggestion is. I just asked a question. That's all I asked, and then everybody else went somewhere else with it. I just asked a question. So that's me. That's what I have to say. I know what a mere suggestion is. It's a resolution. So whether she get it or not, it don't matter. It's just I just need to know what was it going to affect if they decided to say yes. That was my question. You can go ask Spadola now.
For your first round, Councilmember Oliver.
Thank you. Okay, we all understand this is a resolution. I see where we're going with this, but as Yolanda McCoy is the chairperson, she was in the meetings, Chris was in the meetings. I mean, I understand what everybody is saying. If y'all all had a meeting with the chief and he's asking just to put this on hold to give him an opportunity, and I don't believe at some point, because I was on the committee meeting with them when Hanifa was here, and I was on the committee meeting since President Congo was here. They stated where they were, how many of them was out of town. It all sounds good, but if you think that I think that everybody's gonna come and just go around here and do all this work for free, I just don't believe it. And he did not say that on the committee. He said, far as budgetary, we're not discussing that right now. That's what he said at the committee meeting that I was at. Right now, and he had people wherever they was. I think it's a good idea, but I'm gonna go with the chairperson, who's the chair of public safety, and she was in the meetings, and Chris was in the meetings, along with the chief, along with the sponsor. So sometimes we gotta listen to, not saying what's best or whatever, but that was the purpose of us putting all this money in the budget for the Newark, for YAP, for Wolfie's group, and for Network to Connect. They all supposed to be walking around Northeast area starting Friday, and on the east side, they did their training. We put all this money into the budget. So I understand both sides of it, but let's give them an opportunity to just see what they do. So this can always come back. You can never have too many boots on the ground, but financially, I think it is questionable. So for that reason, and that reason only, I'm not gonna vote for this piece of legislation.
Thank you. For your second round, Councilmember Spadola.
Thank you, Council President Congo. Just want to echo Councilmember Bracey's comments. There is no fiscal impact with this. It's just a resolution. The conversation about money will come further down the road. But personally, I like the idea of us having the chief's model and a slightly different model. Let's get a third model going. Let's get a fourth model going. Let's take the best ideas from each one and have the best outcome possible for a safer city. We shouldn't think that there's only one path. There's multiple paths to a better way. And so supporting this is one way to do that. Thank you.
Yes, I agree. Thank you. And for final comment, Councilmember Darby.
Woo. All right, because people were answering questions and it was wrong. But so just to give people a better understanding, I try to take notes from everyone's questions. So there's no fiscal impact. So there was a $40,000 attached to this, but they found a grant. And all they're going to do is come in, look at some data. So they have not, and it was wrong, they have received some, but they have not received everything that they need to do a full analysis that they need. So they need more data, right? So that's another point. It does not complicate any process with CPSI. I don't know if I'm saying that right, with the Newark group, the collective. It doesn't complicate it. That is a totally different program. So that's focused on crime and gun violence prevention, right? Which is totally different than what a community response team is. So a community response team is responding to those non-crime, those things that are not crimes, like homeless people, prostitution, people who are outside doing sexual activity, like those things, like they're responding to those and providing resources to people, which is very different than what Newark came here to do, right? So two different models, and I don't think we have to wait for that model to happen to have the community response team come in. The community response teams is hitting on quality of life things. So dealing with, as I explained already, those type of incidents that police are responding to currently. So if a homeless person is sleeping outside my porch on my sidewalk, I call 911. A police officer responds. I don't think in that instance, because a homeless person is sleeping on a sidewalk, a police officer should respond, right? Maybe a social worker responds to provide services to that person. So this is not CPSI. This is totally different. It is not the same. They do not complicate any process. It is totally different. Now, this is not to negate any work that Chief Campos is doing, right? He wants to set up community engagement teams, which consist of police officers. And he started it, right? I have relationships with my community engagement team. In my district, everyone probably has a relationship with theirs, right? So they're doing a great job. They're doing what their job is supposed to do, but that's not enough. Police officers, I just think, should not respond to certain type of calls. And I think having a community response team allows for police officers to respond to what they should be responding to and putting more energy to that, and then allowing a community response team to help with people who need those additional services and those additional like expertise. Like they're like police officers are just not trained to be therapists, right? They don't go through the schooling. They're not licensed. They, the de-escalation skills, that's not their primary thing. So police officers are needed in a certain subset, like, right? In my opinion, like a certain thing they're needed for. They're not needed for all of these other things. So that was not correct. It is not here to complement. It is not to complicate anything. There's no fiscal impact. This is not CPSI. This is not the same program. This is a totally different program hitting on a totally different type of issues that we have in our city. And I support what Chief Campos is doing with the community engagement team. I support the violence and crime prevention work that's happening, but this is totally different. This is addressing something that is not being addressed right now. So I just want to clear those things up because that was wrong, that was said about the program.
All right, thank you. Clerk, please call for the roll.
Councilman White? Yes. Councilwoman Darby?
Yes.
Councilwoman Oliver?
Yes.
Councilwoman Harley?
Yes.
Councilwoman Fields?
Yes.
Councilwoman McCoy?
No.
Councilman Johnson?
Yes.
Councilman Field? Councilwoman Cabrera?
Yes.
Councilman Spadola?
Yes.
Councilwoman Bracy?
Yes.
President Congo?
Yes.
11 yeas, 1 nay, and 1 absent.
Declared adopted.
Mr. President, I have a resolution to present.
Resolution 23-035, Agenda 0320, whereas in 2021, individuals aged 65 and older.
I move this resolution be received, recorded, and filed and adopted by a yea and nay vote.
Second.
It's been properly moved and seconded that this resolution be received, recorded, and filed and adopted by a yea or nay vote on the question.
Yeah, so this resolution encourages the Delaware Department of Transportation to offer free rides for Delawareans over the age of 65 on all DART buses and paratransit vehicles throughout the state of Delaware. I have been working with Senator Elizabeth Lockman. We both serve on the DART Reimagine Committee to talk about transportation throughout the city of Wilmington. We're in that little subcommittee together. And I've been talking to some community members, and a lot of seniors have been asking for this. So I said, this is the perfect time, and we're on a committee. Would you be interested in supporting something like this if I were to work on it on a city council level? She said yes. So hopefully next year this will be able to get passed, because we're already at the end of June, but this has been in conversations. I have been working with people on the state level on this piece of legislation, and this is just to support our seniors in our community. In our neighboring state, Pennsylvania, is free for seniors to get on the bus or any DART-related transportation. So that's all I have. Thanks.
Thank you. I'd like to be added as a co-sponsor. And seeing Councilmember White.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'd like to be added as a co-sponsor.
Councilmember Oliver.
I'd like to be added as a co-sponsor.
You already on it.
I should have been on it. I didn't see it.
Councilmember Harley.
Yes, I would like to be added as a co-sponsor, and for clarity, the DART would be carrying the financial impact of this.
Yes, I'll let the sponsor respond. Any other council members before?
Sorry, what was that? I didn't hear you, sir.
I'm just gonna let Councilmember Darby respond to Councilmember Harley's concern
I can respond in
before we call the roll. Any other council members?
Yes, I would
Councilmember.
like to be added as a sponsor.
Councilmember Darby, final comments?
Yes. So the cost, they're working on that. Senator Tizzy, well, Elizabeth Lockman, she's working on that on the state end on where that cost, but it will probably come from them, more than likely.
Okay. Okay.
And I do apologize. I did not see Councilmember Corbetta's hand raised. Councilmember Corbetta, did you have a concern? We can't hear you.
She's having difficulty.
Councilmember Corbetta. All right, I'm going to ask for the clerk to please call for the roll.
Councilman White,
Yes.
Councilwoman Darby,
Yes.
Councilwoman Oliver,
Yes.
Councilwoman Harley,
Yes.
Councilwoman Fields,
Yes.
Councilwoman McCoy, Councilman Johnson,
Yes.
Councilman Field, Councilwoman Cabrera,
Yes.
Councilman Spadola,
Yes.
Councilwoman Bracy,
Yes.
President Congo.
Yes.
11 yeas and 2 absent.
Declared adopted. And Councilmember McCoy did ask to be excused.
Oh, thank you.
Mr. President, I have a resolution to present.
Resolution 23036, Agenda 0321. Whereas House Bill number 43.
I move this resolution be received, recorded, and filed and adopted by yea and nay vote.
Second.
It's been properly moved and seconded this resolution be received, recorded, filed, and adopted by a yea or nay vote on the question.
Yeah, so this piece of resolution expresses support for this bill to pass and related to primary elections. So currently, to vote in primary elections, you have to be affiliated with either a Democratic or Republican Party. And I feel like there's a growing segment population of people who don't want to identify with a two-party system, right? I think people are just tired of it. But we know that if you don't identify as a Democrat or Republican, that you cannot participate. And I think it's unfortunate that just because they're not affiliated with the two main parties, that they're not allowed to participate in primary elections. So this act allows Delawareans without political affiliation to vote in the primary election of their choice without having to declare that they have to be a Democrat or Republican to vote. So I am in full support of this. I was hoping that it would get way more support. But I understand the politics behind it and the power that the parties would lose, the Democrat and the Republican Party, if we allow people who are not affiliated to vote. However, I wanted to just express my support. The sponsor is actually State Representative Michael Smith. He's actually a Republican who wrote this up, who I support in regards to this piece of legislation. So thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Johnson.
I appreciate, this being brought to our attention, but as someone who's, I've been steeped in the Democratic Party, probably since I was 8 years old, and someone that's, come up through a Democratic household, a union household, and done a lot with the Democratic Party and through my adulthood, and the party makeup's not perfect, but I believe it moves our country forward. Because the danger of this is that you essentially have to, if everything was open or open to independence, then essentially you have Democratic candidates that have to, kowtow to other interests. For example, gun rights. A Democratic candidate might not be able to forceful with gun and abortion protections because for fear of, they'll be outvoted by independents who may really be Republicans. So I get the sentiment. The two-party system is not perfect. Certainly it's not. But I think it's the best we have, and it's the best to move, continue to move us forward. It's just, we have to deal with it what it is, because I don't agree with everything the party does. But I think it's the best way, and I think specifically in Delaware, I think one party has an incentive to try to push this, because then, again, Democratic candidates will be weaker on certain issues that are bedrock of democratic politics, such as protection of reproductive rights and other key initiatives that the Democratic Party pushes. So that's my 2 cents, and it's kind of like, historically, this has been brought up before. I just think, unfortunately, it's not a great idea, and I think we should hold off on this.
Councilmember Spadola.
Thank you, Council President. Please add me as a co-sponsor. I do think this would be a great way to actually increase voter participation. A lot of people talk about wanting that, but this is one of the few things that would actually really move the needle and probably increase our primary turnout dramatically in September. And so the elected officials would be much more representative of the people that they're representing. Thank you.
Councilmember Cabrera.
Yeah, I have often wanted to see where our primaries were open so that everyone could come out and vote, whether they're voting for a Democrat, independent, or a Republican. It's about inclusiveness, and it's not about any one party having more control than another. I mean, there are Republican candidates that I have agreed with, and they stood for some of the same things. I may not always agree with what every candidate stands for, whether it's a Democrat, Republican, or an independent, but if somebody brings something to the table and they look like they'll make a good leader, I should be able to vote for them. I think that us being primarily a Democratic state, it really is exclusive of bringing in other people who could bring in fresh ideas. When I first got involved in politics, working on Mayor Sewell's campaign, the good old boys had a strong handle on this state. And for the first Black mayor to get elected, it took a lot of grassroots work to start changing the dialogue and changing the faces of our leaders. But we still need to continue to make those changes and be a little bit more progressive in that sense, without being absolutely off the wall progressive either, without leaning too strong to one and to the other. It's just giving people that choice and to be able to do it all at once. And honestly, I think it's a good idea. And I think the states that have this, it's good. It's working. So I'm in support of it.
Thank you. Seeing no other hands raised from council members, I'd also like to be added as a co-sponsor. Councilmember Darby, any final comments?
No final comments.
Clerk, please call for the roll.
Councilman White,
No.
Councilwoman Darby,
Yes.
Councilwoman Oliver,
No.
Councilwoman Harley,
Present.
Councilwoman Fields,
Present.
Councilman Johnson,
No.
Councilman Field, Councilwoman Cabrera,
Yes.
Councilman Spadola,
Yes.
Councilwoman Bracy,
No.
President Congo.
Yes.
4 yeas, 5 nays, 2 present, and 1 absent. Excuse me, 2 present and 2 absent. So 4 yeas, 5 nays, 2 present, and 2 absent.
Thank you. Declare defeated.
Council President, may I have excuse, please?
Yes, you may. I'd also like to go back to Councilmember Bracy to finish her legislation. Yeah, the last piece of your legislation that you were going to present on my behalf, I mistakenly moved forward without officially holding it. Councilmember Bracy.
Oh, I'm sorry. I have a resolution to present on your behalf. I thought it was being held.
You can just say that it's going to be held. That you're holding.
Okay. I'm sorry. The resolution 026. The resolution is being held. Or ordinance 22-035.
It's to substitute 1 to ordinance 22035, agenda 0216 is being formally held.
The substitute 1 to ordinance 22-35 is being formally held by the sponsor, President Congo.
Mr. President,
Thank you. Yes, Councilmember White.
Mr. President, such legislation to be held should have a date, to be a whole date.
No, that's only when it's postponed.
Thank you, Mr. President, for that clarity.
You're
Appreciate it.
welcome. Thank you. All right, we're going to move to Councilmember Oliver.
Thank you, Mr. President. I have a resolution. To present.
Resolution 23037, Agenda 0322, whereas pursuant to City Charter Section 101, the city may acquire, hold, manage, and dispose of property on such terms as is deemed proper for any municipal purpose. And whereas City Code Section 2627 authorizes Department of Public Works, subject to the approval of council by resolution, to grant such easement as shall be necessary to facilitate the
I
construction.
move this resolution be received, recorded, and filed, and adopted by yea and nay vote.
Second on the motion.
It's been properly moved and second that the resolution be received, recorded, filed, and adopted by yea or nay vote on the question.
Yes, this resolution is being presented by the administration for council's review and approval. The resolution approves the city's grant of an assessment in 17th Street right-of-way to Tower Hill School Association to make certain street improvements. And this was discussed in committee, and I was able to talk to Vince in Public Work and on the three-way with, can't remember the name, I don't have my book, someone from the Civic Association. So it's just merely doing some additional street improvements over there that's overdue.
Councilmember Field.
I just want to make a comment. So, for the record, some might be wondering why. So, Tower Hill School.
Councilmember Field, can you please speak into your mic?
So, Tower Hill School and 17th Street is in the 8th District. And the reason I'm not the sponsor was because I was away on leave. And I just want to clarify that this is merely cosmetic. There's some changes to 17th Street, putting in bricks, some things to slow down vehicles, but it is specifically not something that was discussed before that would, a much more expansive option. That is definitely not part of this. This is merely some measures to sort of slow down traffic, and that's it. And that's all that Tower Hill has requested, and just want to clarify that for anybody who might be watching from the 8th District.
Thank you. Seeing no other hands raised, Councilmember Oliver, any closing remarks?
No, I'm just echoing what Councilman Phil stated. He was away on his honeymoon, so that was the only, congratulations, I didn't mean it, but that's where he was. So that was the only reason he was away on his honeymoon, so that's the only reason I got this piece of legislation. Kudos to you. I didn't mean to jump, but that was where he was. And with that, we can call for the vote.
Clerk, please call for the roll.
Councilman White,
Yay.
Councilwoman, Harvey's excused. Okay, just a second. Get my notes here right. Councilman White, yes. Councilwoman Oliver,
Yes.
Councilwoman Harley,
Yes.
Councilwoman Fields,
Yes.
Councilman Johnson,
Yes.
Councilman Field,
Yes.
Councilwoman Cabrera, Councilwoman Cabrera,
Yes.
Councilman Spadola,
Yes.
Councilwoman Bracy,
Yes.
and President Congo.
Yes.
10 yeas and 3 absent.
Declared adopted. Any other legislation, Councilmember Oliver?
No, sir, thank you.
All right, we'll go to Councilmember Harley.
Yes, Mr. President, I have an ordinance to present and call for the third and final reading.
Ordinance 23015, Agenda 0291, an ordinance to amend Chapter 44 of the City Code to provide a property tax exemption for low to moderate income, low-term homeowners following a 50% or more property tax increase on their primary residence.
Mr. President, I move that it be known as the enacting clause of the ordinance and call for the yea and nay vote.
Second.
It's been properly moved and seconded that be known as the enacting clause of the ordinance and called for a yea or nay vote on the question.
Yes, Mr. President. First of all, I want to say that this has been a long time coming. Being the representative in the 4th District, as many people know, I have public housing in the 4th District as well as $1 million properties. And for the last 5 years, I've had a number of my constituents that have been concerned about taxes being raised as it related to redevelopment in the district. And then when the Newcastle County came out with the assessment about 3 or 4 months ago, the concern began to rise even more. So this legislation basically is being presented tonight for review as it relates to providing partial property tax abatement for low to moderate long-term city homeowners who meet certain eligibility requirements. The eligible homeowners who have their property tax obligation increased by 50% or more following a property assessment may apply for a partial abatement of their tax obligation. The partial abatement would pause their tax obligation at the pre-assessment amount as long as the property homeowner meets the eligibility requirements. So in layman's term, if the tax value go up more than 50% to the homeowner that has lived in the property for 10 years, and if it's their primary resident, and that they meet the other requirements, not owing any back taxes and things of that nature, they can apply for an abatement if it's 50% or more. So no matter if redevelopment takes place and the tax assessment goes up, or even the Newcastle County assessments, when they come back in, if they are more than 50%, those individual homeowners can apply for an abatement from the city of Wilmington. So this has been a long time coming, and I hope that those that apply and those that are in this particular demographic can feel some ease that if they're in low to moderate demographics and meet the eligibility, that this would definitely put them at ease as it relates to the assessment.
Thank you. I'd like to be added as a co-sponsor. Councilmember Johnson.
I thought I was already a co-sponsor, but I would, if I'm not already on there, I would like to be added as a co-sponsor. This again, I commend Council Member Harley working with Real Estate and Housing, as there's full support from Real Estate and Housing for this, and I think especially it's important because in the 4th District, we have a brand new complex, River Tower coming, and it protects those residents. So these are often boring, overlooked programs, but I think we'll look years back in how years from now and how this is actually groundbreaking legislation, and it's very important that we let the community know that we have the safeguards in place. We put in neighborhood stabilization hours, we're putting in repair dollars, we're making sure that there's equality across every neighborhood in the city. So it goes with the 108 theme that we're doubling down on protecting homeowners, especially longtime homeowners.
Yes.
Thank you, Councilmember Fields.
Yes, I would like to be added as a co-sponsor.
Thank you, Councilmember White.
Yes, Mr. President. I may I ask questions about this?
Sure.
Okay. I'll direct them to you, and you can direct them to Councilman Harvey. My question is, Section 44-72 of this ordinance states that, I want to be clear about that, would pause current municipal taxes.
Excuse me, point of order.
Yes.
This was in a committee meeting. I think the questions need to be asked in the committee meeting or give the council person a call, because this is what happens every time we have city council. We start reiterating the committee meetings. Now, if we have a question, we need to be asking these questions in committee meetings.
I do see your point, but we do have time allotted to allow council members to speak for 5 minutes. I'm going to allow Councilmember White to continue.
Okay.
Thank you, Mr. President. The definition of an equitable owner, question is, the equitable owner this law allows for the equitable owner to be a beneficiary of the low to moderate income property tax abatement. Suppose the equitable owner is not that. And I agree with my council colleague that I don't want to get into a long diatribe, but there's some things that just stand out, and if they've been discussed and flushed out, that's fine. The equitable owner question on page, it's section B2, equitable owner. And my last question is, just for the clarity, is for clarity purposes, the primary place of residence for at least 6 months, that equitable owner or the person transferred, that is waived. So again, they would not have to meet that criteria. And lastly, that's my questions, Mr. President, and I don't want to belabor the point.
All right, thank you. I will allow Councilmember Harley to address those during her final comments.
Okay, so.
Any other comments
Oh,
before Councilmember Harley gives her last comments? Councilmember Oliver?
Yeah, I'd like to number 3, good question. The primary place of residence means a property which a person resides for at least 6 months out the year.
Did you get that for your final comments? Did you understand her concern?
no.
Councilmember Oliver, can you repeat your concern?
Now, I just reiterated what he said, the question on the primary place residence means the property in which a person resides and for at least 6 months. Do that mean that they're eligible for the treatment?
So.
All right, Councilmember, one second,
Oh, I'm
please.
sorry.
Any other council members before Councilmember Harley gives her final comment? Thank you, Councilmember Harley.
Okay, so to be eligible, you have to be a homeowner for 10 years, and that has to be your primary residence. Okay, so that has to be your primary residence. So that's my response. And you mentioned B, number 2, primary property owner means. So it gives you the definition of the primary owner. So what is it that, I'm not 100% sure what Councilmember White is asking, because it gives you the definitions of primary owner.
So you will be able, I mean, you have last comment, so you won't be able to respond to that.
Okay.
All right.
So,
So, Councilmember Harley has last comment this time.
Yeah,
No other
and I guess
council
I'm not sure what the concern is. I think that's more so where I am right now, because it's defining here under definitions, right? Okay. And then 2B2, it explains primary property owner. And my main concern again was making sure that if individuals have been owning their property for the 10 years or more, it was their primary residence, and they were low to moderate, that they didn't have to be concerned about being priced out of their homes. That was my main concern and the main interest in terms of who we are trying to protect. That was the focus right there.
Okay, are you ready for the clerk to call the roll? If not, I will allow, for clarity, so everyone has clarity, we can go back and if you think that the council members have, if they need more clarity, if you need more clarity, we can. I mean, I will allow it unless you're ready for the clerk to call the roll. It's your call.
I'm calling a roll.
Okay.
We
Clerk, please
went
call the
over
roll.
this for a long time.
Councilman White,
Yay.
Councilwoman Oliver,
Yes.
Councilwoman Harley,
Yes.
Councilwoman Fields,
Yes.
Councilman Johnson,
Yes.
Councilman Field,
Yes.
Councilwoman Cabrera,
Yes.
Councilman Spadola.
Yes.
Oh. Councilwoman Bracy
Yes.
and President Congo.
Yes,
Mr. President.
10 yeas and 3 absent.
declared adopted. Councilmember Fields?
May I please be excused?
I have another piece of legislation to present.
After she finishes.
Yes.
Thank you.
After this.
Yes.
Thank you.
Mr. President, I have a resolution to present.
Resolution 23038, Agenda 0323, whereas House Bill Number 62, an act to amend Title IX of the Delaware Code relating to the assessment of real property, sets a requirement that real property assessments take place at least every 5 years.
I move this resolution be received, recorded, and filed and adopted by a yea and nay vote.
Second.
It's been properly moved and seconded that this resolution be, received, recorded, filed, and adopted by a yea and nay vote on the question.
Yes, Mr. President, this is basically a companion piece to the ordinance that I just read. This is actually a bill by State Rep or Senator Medina down in Dover. And this particular resolution, again, is expressing support for House Bill number 62. And it's an act to amend Title IX of the Delaware Code relating to the assessment of real estate property, which sets a requirement that real property reassessments occur at least every 5 years. So property taxes are basically a significant source of revenue for counties, municipalities, and school districts. And so, again, this is a companion piece, and we will not have to deal with what we have dealt with within the last 20 or 30 years. We haven't had assessments since 1983, and this resolution basically is stating that instead of us waiting that long in the future, that we will be doing these assessments every 5 years. So this is just in support of the bill that's on the agenda in Dover right now.
Okay, thank you. Seeing no hands raised, clerk, please call for the roll.
Councilman White,
Yay.
Councilwoman Oliver, Councilwoman Harley,
Yes.
Councilwoman Fields,
Yes.
Councilman Johnson,
Yes.
Councilman Field,
Yes.
Councilwoman Cabrera,
Yes.
Councilman Spadola,
Yes.
Councilwoman Bracy, President Congo.
Yes.
8 yeas and 5 absent.
Declare adopted.
That's all I have, Mr. President.
Thank you. Councilmember Johnson.
Yes, Mr. President, I have an ordinance to call for first and second reading.
Ordinance 23-027, Agenda 0324, an ordinance to amend Chapter 42 of the Wilmington City Code to permit persons residing in certain residential property to use, install, and maintain curbside charging cords and electric vehicles charging station in the public right-of-way.
First reading of the ordinance.
An ordinance to amend Chapter 42 of the Wilmington City Code to permit persons residing in certain residential property to use, install, and maintain curbside charging cords and electric vehicles charging stations in the public right-of-way.
Second reading of the ordinance.
Mr. President, I move that be known as the first and second reading of ordinance and refer to the Community Development and Urban Planning Committee.
Second.
It's been properly moved and seconded that be known as the first and second reading of the ordinance and refer to the Community Development and Urban Planning Committee.
Mr. President, I also have an ordinance to present and call for the third and final reading.
Ordinance 23-023, Agenda 0312, an ordinance authorizing the issuance of the city's general obligation bond, Clearwell Storage Improvements Design Phase 1 Project, Series of 2023 DWSRF, in order to provide the funds necessary for the city of Wilmington's design and construction and phases of a new clear well, providing for the sale of the 2023 bond to the Delaware Drinking Water State Revolving Fund, and authorizing other necessary action.
Mr. President, I move that be known as an enacting clause in the ordinance and call for a yea-nay vote.
Second.
It's been properly moved and seconded that be known as the enacting clause of the ordinance and called for a yea or nay vote.
This is part of a set of clean water bills. Again, this council is doing the stuff that's not, again, it's not those sexy, famous things that, get a lot of attention, but it's the things that help move our community forward, especially the health of our community. So this is, again, more investment in our clean water and our water treatment plant. I look forward to getting these passed, hopefully, and then we can receive the funding once we go to bond market for these.
Seeing no hands raised from council, clerk, please call for the roll.
Councilman White?
Yes.
Councilwoman Oliver?
Yes.
Councilwoman Harley?
Yes.
Councilwoman Fields?
Yes.
Councilman Johnson?
Yes.
Councilman Field?
Yes.
Councilwoman Cabrera? Councilwoman Cabrera? Councilman Spadola?
Yes.
Excuse me?
Yes. Yes. Cabrera said yes.
Thank you.
Yes. Spittle yes.
Councilwoman Bracy?
Yes.
And President Congo.
Yes.
10 yeas and 3 absent.
Declare adopted.
I'm trying my best to keep it
For
on
point of
track.
order, I don't know, Madam Clerk, if you caught my name, did you? I don't recall.
Okay, Councilman Johnson.
Yes.
10 yeas and
It's a-
3 absent.
We thought that whole back row was leaving.
I'm still here.
Thank you, thank
Thank
you.
All right, Mr. President, I have another ordinance and call for third and final reading.
Was that declared adopted? I'm sorry.
Yes, declared adopted.
Thank you so much. Ordinance 23024, Agenda 0313, an ordinance authorizing the issuance of city's general obligation bond reliability improvements project series of 2023 DWSRF in order to provide the funds necessary for the City of Wilmington's water plant and electrical improvements, providing for the sale of the 2023 bond to the Delaware Drinking Water State Revolving Fund, and authorizing other necessary action.
Mr. President, I move that be noticed enacting clause of ordinance and call for a yea nay vote.
Second.
It's been properly moved and seconded that be known as the enacting clause of the ordinance and called for a yea or nay vote on the question.
This is again a part of the clean water bond bill in terms of improvements our water treatment plant.
Councilmember Oliver.
Yes, I'd like to be acting as a co-sponsor.
See no other hands raised. Clerk, please call for the roll.
Councilman White?
Yes.
Councilwoman Oliver?
Yes.
Councilwoman Harley?
Yes.
Councilwoman Fields?
Yes.
Councilman Johnson?
Yes.
Councilman Field? Yes. Councilwoman Cabrera?
Yes.
Councilman Spadola?
Yes.
Councilwoman Bracy? President Congo?
Yes,
10 yeas and 3 absent.
declared adopted.
Mr. President, I have another ordinance to present and call for third and final reading.
Ordinance 23025, Agenda 0314, an ordinance authorizing the issuance of the city's general obligation bond, PFAS Removal Design Phase 1 project, series of 2023 DWSRF, in order to provide the funds necessary for the city of Wilmington's removal of PFAS from the city's drinking water and elevation of the log removal capabilities at the Porter Filter Plant, providing for the sale of the 2023 bond to the Delaware Drinking Water State Revolving Fund, and authorizing other necessary action.
Mr. President, I move that be noticed enacting clause of ordinance and call for a yea nay vote.
Second.
It's been properly moved and seconded that be known as the enacting clause of the ordinance and called for a yea or nay vote on the question.
This is again a part of the companion piece of clean water bills. This deals with PFAS, which folks may have heard about in the news. Gets a lot of attention in terms of removing that harmful chemical from the water system. So again, this is a city council stepping up, working with administration to make sure we have clean water for all.
Councilmember Oliver,
Yes, I'd like to be added as a co-sponsor.
Yeah, me too.
Councilmember Fields,
I would like to. I would like to be added as a co-sponsor too.
Thank you. See no other hands raised.
Just one.
Councilmember Harley.
Yes, Mr. President. I have a question for the sponsor. All the legislation that's dealing with the water, does it have anything to do with the lead that has been found in the water? Does all this legislation have a lot to do with that?
And if no other council members have any comments, Councilmember Johnson can give final comment and answer the concern.
That's the next bill, Councilmember Harley actually specifically deals with lead.
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
Clerk, please call for the roll.
Councilman White?
Yes.
Councilwoman Oliver?
Yes.
Councilwoman Harley?
Yes.
Councilwoman Fields?
Yes.
Councilman Johnson?
Yes.
Councilman Field? Yes. Councilwoman Cabrera?
Yes.
Councilman Spadola?
Yes.
Councilwoman Bracy?
Yes.
President Congo?
Yes,
10 yeas and 3 absent.
declared adopted.
Mr. President, I have another ordinance and call for call for third and final reading.
Ordinance 23026, Agenda 0315, an ordinance authorizing the issuance of the city's general obligation bond, water distribution and transmission improvements, lead removal project, series of 2023 DWSRF, in order to provide the funds necessary for the city of Wilmington's completion of both large and small diameter transmission and distribution projects across multiple service zones, providing for the sale of the 2023 bond to the Delaware Drinking Water State Revolving Fund, and authorizing other necessary action.
Mr. President, I move that be known as enacting clause of ordinance and call for a yea nay vote.
Second.
It's been properly moved and seconded that be known as the enacting clause of the ordinance and called for a yea or nay vote. On the
Yes,
question.
Mr. President, this is the part that Councilmember Harley was talking about regarding lead. Again, this is something, along with PFAS, we do hear about on the news, and most residents know about this. So again, this shows that we're sticking to our word and doubling down on the health of our residents. So we look forward to this project going to bond, market, and getting funded, and the work to start soon.
Councilmember Fields,
Yes, I would like to be added on as a co-sponsor, please.
Councilmember Oliver,
I'd like to be added as a co-sponsor.
Councilmember Harley,
Yes, this is the one that I would like to be added as a co-sponsor. Thank you.
Councilmember Oliver.
I'd like to be excused.
Yes, after the roll call. Clerk, please call for the roll.
Councilman White,
Yes.
Councilwoman Oliver,
Yes.
Councilwoman Harley,
Yes.
Councilwoman Fields,
Yes.
Councilman Johnson,
Yes.
Councilman Field, Councilwoman Cabrera,
Yes.
Councilman Spadola,
Yes.
Councilwoman Bracy, President Congo.
Yes.
10 yeas and 3 absent.
Declare adopted. Councilmember Oliver, you may be excused.
Thank you. You see, I'm a little tired.
Keep her, Mr. President, keep her.
Ms. President, I have an ordinance and call for the first and second reading.
Ordinance 23-028, Agenda 0325, an ordinance to rezone 7 parcels of land located along Lincoln Street between 10th and 11th Streets from a zoning classification of R3, one-family row houses, to a zoning classification of C2, secondary business centers.
First reading of the ordinance.
An ordinance to rezone 7 parcels of land located along Lincoln Streets between 10th and 11th Streets from a zoning classification of R3, one-family row houses, to a zoning classification of C2, secondary business centers.
Second reading of the ordinance.
Mr. President, I move that be noticed the first and second reading of ordinance and refer to the Community Development and Urban Planning Committee.
Second.
It's been properly moved and second that be known as the first and second reading of the ordinance and refer to the Community Development and Urban Planning Committee.
Mr. President, I have a resolution to present.
Just 1 second. 38, 39. Just one moment. Resolution 23039, Agenda 0326, whereas on June 15, 2023, an ordinance was introduced before City Council proposing an amendment to the building zone map of Wilmington, Delaware to change the zoning classification of 7 parcels of land located along Lincoln Street between 10th and 11th Streets from a zoning classification of R3 to a zoning classification of C2, secondary business centers.
Mr. President, I move that this resolution be received, recorded, and filed, and adopted by a yea nay vote.
Second.
It's been properly moved and seconded that be known as that the resolution be received, recorded, filed, and adopted by a yea or nay vote on the question.
This is a resolution scheduling the public hearing for the rezoning on the west side, portion of the west side business district. So the time set will be for July 13th.
Clerk, please call for the roll.
Councilman White,
Yes.
Councilwoman Harley,
Yes.
Councilwoman Fields,
Yes.
Councilman Johnson,
Yes.
Councilman Field,
Yes.
Councilwoman Cabrera,
Yes.
Councilman Spadola,
Yes.
Councilwoman Bracy, President Congo.
Yes.
9 yeas and 4 absent.
Declared adopted.
Mr. President, I have a resolution to present. Agenda item 0327. I believe.
Resolution 23040, Agenda 0327, whereas the city's comprehensive development plan entitled Wilmington 2020, a comprehensive plan for our city and communities was adopted by City Council on December 12, 2019, and whereas at its meeting on 2023, the City Planning Commission is scheduled to consider an amendment to the comprehensive plan's West Side future land use map to change the future land use categories of 7 parcels of land located along Lincoln Street between 10th and 11th Street from medium-density residential to neighborhood mixed use in relation to the proposed rezoning of such parcels. And whereas the provision of City Charter Section 5.
Mr. President, I move that this resolution be received, recorded, and filed, and adopted by a yea nay vote.
Second.
It's been properly moved and second that this resolution be received, recorded, filed, and adopted by a yea or nay vote on the question.
Mr. President, this is simply a companion to the last piece. It is, again, scheduling a public hearing for this rezoning. We do have to change some of the city plan to do this rezoning, as again, the reason we're doing this is to expand economic opportunity, especially for black and brown businesses in the business corridor. So again, that hearing will be set for July 13th.
Councilmember Harley?
Yes, I know this is not my district, but I'm excited about what's happening over in the 7th district, and I'm also excited about this legislation. So I would like to be added as a co-signer because even though a co-sponsor, even though again it's the 7th district, we all work for the city, and when we have good legislation like this being sponsored, I think it's a win for us all. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you. Councilmember Fields?
Yes, I'd like to be added on as a co-sponsor.
Thank you. Clerk, please call for the roll.
Councilman White,
Yes.
Councilwoman Harley,
Yes.
Councilwoman Fields,
Yes.
Councilman Johnson,
Yes.
Councilman Field, Councilwoman Cabrera,
Yes.
Councilman Spadola,
Yes.
Councilwoman Bracy,
Yes.
President Congo.
Yes.
9 yeas and four absent.
Declared adopted.
And that completes my business tonight, Mr. President. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Cabrera?
Mr. President, I have a resolution to present.
Resolution 23041, Agenda 0328, whereas Senate Bill Number 8, an act to amend Title 6 of the Delaware Code relating to medical debt would protect patients from unfair debt collection practices for medical debt by providing reasonable standards for the handling of medical debt that prevent individuals from being overwhelmed by the burden of unforeseen medical costs. And whereas although more than 90% of the United States population has some type of insurance, medical debt remains a significant concern.
I move this resolution be received, recorded, and filed, and adopted by a yea and nay vote.
Second.
It's been properly moved and second that this resolution be received, recorded, filed, and adopted by a yea or nay vote on the question.
Mr. President, the state legislature is taking some action on something that affects so many households across our country and right here in Delaware, where we're actually number 8 with the highest medical costs. So when you have a family that is unprepared for medical incident, sometimes even if you have health insurance, the 20% copays or even the deductibles, the high deductibles that people opt to take so that they can have a lower cost in their health plans. And now, especially with the COVID relief parameters being lifted and many people coming off of Medicaid, some I fear will not know that they qualify for a special enrollment period where they can actually get insurance out of open enrollment. And some who don't even apply for insurance, that if you have a medical incident, and you're hit with these medical bills, that they are on your credit report, it just prohibits you from being able to move forward, buying a home, even renting a property. So what this bill would do is would protect the patients from an unfair debt collection practices for medical debt, and provide reasonable standards of handling medical debt and individuals from being overwhelmed by the unforeseen costs of medical costs. So not only should we be sending resolutions down supporting in Dover, but we also need to pick up the phone and talk to our legislatures, because I know we've been doing a lot of resolutions, but they often comment, we want to hear from you instead of being inundated. So I'm making my phone calls, and I hope that colleagues will do the same and support this, as this would benefit all of Delawareans, but here in Wilmington where we have the highest poverty level. That's it, Mr. President.
Thank you. I see no hands raised.
Mr. President, I'd like to be added on
Yes,
as a
yes, Councilmember Fields. Councilmember Fields, as co-sponsor.
Yes, please.
Clerk, please call for the roll.
Councilman White,
Yes.
Councilwoman Harley,
Yes.
Councilwoman Fields,
Yes.
Councilman Johnson,
Yes.
Councilman Field,
Yes.
Councilwoman Cabrera,
Yes.
Councilman Spadola. I'm sorry? Excuse me, Councilman Spadola? Councilwoman Bracy?
Yes.
President Congo?
Yes.
Excuse me. I am so sorry.
It's not you.
8 yeas
late.
and 5 absent.
Declared adopted.
I guess I'm the only one without the attack of the giggles. It must be the air in the conference room.
This time we'll move to petitions and communications. Councilmember White.
No, nothing, not a thing.
Councilmember Harley.
Yes, Mr. President. First of all, I want to apologize for the interruption. I was actually looking for my announcement to share. So I need a minute. Not a minute, just let me get to it. I needed to get my phone together, so give me this time. Okay, so I wanted to announce that for Juneteenth, they're going to have the Beyond Juneteenth Afro Symposium. It's going to be on Sunday, June 18th. It starts at 11 a.m. and it's going to be held at the Delaware Art Museum. And again, I really do apologize as I was looking for the announcement. It's a whole lot going on Sunday, and all of that action and music and all of that you heard on the phone, that's what that's going to be about on Sunday. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Fields.
Yes, Mr. President. Okay, so, again, like my colleague stated, there is a lot going on, with Juneteenth, but there's also a community meeting going on. It's the West Center City Neighborhood Association meeting. It's gonna be this Saturday, from 10 a.m. to 11:30. It's gonna be at William Hicks Anderson Community Center, 501 North Madison Street, Wilmington, Delaware. If you have any questions, please call City Council Office 302-576-2140. Also, the Quaker Hill Neighborhood Association, they will be having their annual picnic on June 28th in place of their regular meeting. If you have any questions or concerns, please reach out to Cassandra Marshall via the Quaker Hill Neighborhood Association page. Grand opening, June 22nd. You're invited. Tilton Park Playground, grand opening ceremony and celebration. Food and fun for all ages. Tilton Land, the party in the park. So, it was a big thing. It was a long time coming since Tilton Park, to get Tilton Park completed. And we are having a grand opening on June 22nd. So I'm really happy for the constituents, along with, all the other people that definitely participated in getting this done. Oh, and it starts at 4 o'clock on the 22nd. Got something else. I think that's it. Oh, and my quote. Hold on. Shoot. All right. I'm sorry, Michelle. All right. Never mind. Oh, wait a minute. My humanity is bounded up in yours, for we can only be human together. That's the Juneteenth quote. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you. Councilmember Johnson.
Yes, Mr. President. This is a housekeeping matter. We do have a joint community development, urban planning, and finance committee meeting. I believe it's the last committee meeting before summer break. So there's a quite lengthy agenda, but there's a lot of important matters on that agenda. So Council Member Cabrera may talk about more community development aspect, but in terms of the finance aspect, there is the parking fine legislation on the agenda, and there's some other important matters. So please be there. It's Wednesday, June 21st, 5 p.m. at the committee room, or of course on Zoom. We look forward to having folks there. There's also just another announcement in the West Side. There's also the Union Park Garden Neighborhood Association quarterly meeting is Wednesday as well, and it's at 6 p.m. There'll be Wilmington Police will be there in terms of talking about any concerns in the community. And then lastly, if you're still around this weekend, the St. Anthony's Italian Festival is going strong. It's been very well attended, and it goes until this Sunday. So again, there's a lot of going on West Side, so please make yourself available and hope you can come out. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Field.
Yes, I have one announcement. On Monday, June 27th, there's a community meeting. There's a planned or apartment building in the 1000 block of Gilpin Avenue, and there will be a community meeting where the builders will present all of the information about the project from 6:30 to 8:30 in the common room of Park Plaza, which is located at 1100 Lovering Avenue. Again, that's a community meeting where the builders of a proposed apartment building in the 1000 block of Gilpin Avenue will present all of the information about the project to the community from 6:30 to 8:30 at the common room at 1100 Lovering Avenue. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Cabrera.
Yes, Council President, I would like to also just remind people there is a lot going on around Juneteenth, and this Saturday, the parade kicks off from Rodney Square at 10 a.m. It goes down to Tubman Garrett Park, where the festival will continue until 5 p.m. Apparently, there's other events taking place, even at Winterthur. They have an event going on from 11 a.m. to 5 p.m. There'll be drumming and a lot of different activities taking place. So I hope that people will join in as we celebrate this wonderful event. And I'm glad to see all the ancillary events that are being planned around it as we learn more about our history and the history of Juneteenth. Also on Saturday, there will be a gay pride event at Tilton Park from 1 to 5 p.m. So I hope that people can come out and also enjoy in the festivities there. I hear that they're going to be great. And of course, we being the City of Festivals, as Councilman Johnson already announced, we have the Italian Festival going on. So there's a lot happening. I thank him for announcing the Community Development and Urban Planning meeting, which will take place on Wednesday. It's a little different than its regularly scheduled time. And last but not least, just wanted to wish all my colleagues that are fathers on City Council a happy Father's Day. And all the fathers in Wilmington, we thank you for stepping up and not just creating a child, but for those of you who raise those children and for those of you who take on other children and to raise them, to be mentors, to be there. We want to celebrate you on this Father's Day. And that's it, Mr. President.
Thank you, Councilmember Spadola. Councilmember Bracy.
Just the West Side Coalition, the West Side Neighborhood Coalition is meeting on June 21st at 6:30. There's a Zoom link. You can reach out to Councilwoman Fields to get the information, and this will be their last meeting until September 20th. So if you have any questions, you can reach out to Councilwoman Fields. And that's all I have.
Thank you. And I just want to thank everyone for joining us on behalf of all of council. Thank you for those who joined us virtually and for those of you who are in council chambers. If you have any questions or concerns, and if we can be of any assistance, please call us at 302-576-2140. Again, I want to wish everyone a happy Father's Day, happy Juneteenth. And again, thank you for joining us. I'll accept the motion to adjourn.
So moved. Second.
It's been properly moved and second to adjourn. All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carried. Meeting adjourned. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.